Dungeons & Dragons just released a trailer for their new starter set, Heroes of the Borderlands, and I have some time on my hands, so I thought I'd react to it. I've had a lot of thoughts about how important it is to make any type of role-playing game as accessible as possible. And there are a lot of different tricks that are very simple to do to make that possible. And I think Daggerheart has absolutely nailed it. When you buy Daggerheart, you get all these spell cards, cards for your class, things that let you know what your abilities are, and they've really cracked the code. So I am excited to see that D&D has a starter set that also has, plenty of cards, something that's easy to understand, especially for new players. No matter how well you know D&D or how well you know Daggerheart, it's so easy to just have a card that tells you what you do, what your ability is. Just have a stack of cards that tell you exactly what you are capable of. So it's easy to remember, easy to reference. You can hand it to your game master or dungeon master so they can also see what you're doing. And it just makes a better play experience. And that is honestly why I'm definitely falling in love with Daggerheart in a lot of ways. I'm still learning that system, but boy, right out of the box, it's been amazing. So I am very excited for these starter set as well. I am completely biased because I'm friends with the design team. One of the key designers is a friend of mine, and I am also married to someone who also worked on that product. So I can't review it. I'm completely biased. But I guess what really kind of wanted to talk about was I was always actually kind of a fan of any kind of spell cards or magical item cards that were kind of like coming out from third parties and stuff like that for different role-playing games. I always found that stuff to be very helpful, especially when trying to teach someone new. And that's something I haven't gotten a chance to review Daggerheart, specifically because I just haven't had the time, and I am learning that new system. But what became apparent right out of the gate is, and this came up actually as I was playing a great deal of Dungeons & Dragons, is that Daggerheart is designed very much how my friends and I play D&D, and how many other people I know play D&D. Now, that's not going to be true for every single table, right? Like, I am not the definition of all D&D players, but it was pretty funny to be talking to a fairly large group of people about D&D and about Daggerheart, and how Daggerheart kind of captures what we end up actually doing and how certain things come to pass in that game. And I'm going to have some further videos on that very specific topic of, okay, this really kind of captures how I run things at my table, more so than this. Daggerheart has, some of the advantages of not having all of this legacy that they are bound to, right, in how they design. But Daggerheart is also the new kid on the block, and having to, really kind of showcase what they're capable of. I'm very optimistic for Daggerheart's future. The more and more I hear about people playing it, people interested in it, and kind of the book's been selling out multiple times. I got my copy very, very late because people are just gobbling it up. And every time I read it, I get excited. Like there is something for everyone in this book. I feel like there's a species for everyone. There's a class. There are abilities and spells that just kind of nail the fantasy that you are looking for. Now, for the D&D starter set, I can't really talk about anything that's in there, really, other than what you know. And I can read through everything that you get. It is pretty remarkable when you look at everything, though, how cheap Daggerheart is compared to a lot of things. I don't know how they've managed it, but you're getting a weighty tome that is easy to understand, and then cards on top of everything else. So what's interesting about Daggerheart is it is effectively a starter set, except for it has everything you need. Like, there's no missing content. There are no missing monsters at this moment. There's no other Daggerheart Dungeon Master's Guide that you need to get as well for you and your friends to play. This is the one book you need and the cards you need. That's it. And you don't even necessarily need those cards, but they are helping you learn that game. So when we talk about starter sets, Daggerheart kind of is a starter set plus, like core rule books on top of everything else. I think that's very hard for D&D to replicate, and it may not even really be possible. So let's go ahead and look at what you actually are getting in the starter set versus what you are getting in Daggerheart. And again, these are two very different products. It's not going to be apples to apples. It's not going to be a completely fair comparison, but it's interesting to note. I also noted my chief complaint about both these products is I suspect they don't come with smoke, because if you look at both trailers for Daggerheart and the Dungeons and Dragons starter set trailer, they are very similar, and they are working that smoke machine really hard. So I was disappointed when I opened up Daggerheart and smoke didn't billow out, and I suspect, I can't confirm, but I'm pretty sure when you open up the D&D starter set, smoke will not billow out of it. So that's something you should keep in mind. Okay. So the D&D starter set, Heroes of the Borderlands, comes with 3 adventure booklets. Each of these are focused on encounters, combat, social interaction, and exploration. You're getting class boards, immersive handouts, dice, maps, tokens, and a combat tracker, and also cards that represent magic items, spells, and monsters, and more. So they really are aiming at giving you everything you need to do. So 3 adventure booklets, 8 character class boards, 9 double-sided poster maps, 11 dice, and game accessories. And you are getting that content for $49.99. Daggerheart is $59.99, so $10 more. It is 366 pages of content. They include rules for creating characters, making a shared world, for playing adventures, for crafting encounters and campaigns as a game master. So this is everything a game master needs, everything a player needs, and a lot of different tools to create your own settings. This also includes what they call dynamic adversaries and environments. So that's effectively the monster manual portion of everything else. You're getting tons of creatures to use in your campaigns. And out of that, you're getting 18 ancestry cards, 2 sets of 9 community cards, 54 subclass cards, and 189 domain cards. That's a lot of content for $59.99. I think at the end of the day, it's an interesting comparison to make between these two products, other than the smoke machines that are being used in their trailers. But I would love to see more products like this if it's affordable to make them, where you are getting everything you need to play a game. And I think maybe in previous editions of D&D, that's been hard. If there's just a player's handbook and just a monster manual and just a dungeon master's guide, that's why I think there is a popularity to the starter sets or the starter kits that D&D has been releasing in the past, because you just want to be able to crack open something and get to play it. Like, if I want to give a gift to someone, like it's this holiday season, or someone who is curious about role-playing games, I'm confident in giving them either Daggerheart, which is a complete set, or giving them something like this starter set. And I want to see a lot more content like that. And frankly, I am a very visual person. I love character sheets, and we've got tons of character builders out there, but there is something about a card-based system for keeping track of who your character is and building them that is really appealing to a lot of people who are curious about tabletop gaming. So I want to see a whole lot more of that. I hope both of these products are insanely successful. I think more people playing tabletop role-playing games will only make the world a better place. I am obviously a huge fan of all of this type of content, and I hope to be getting to crack open the new starter set and showing off what's in that for D&D. And I'm still doing a very deep dive on my own of Daggerheart, and I'm hoping to crash a few Daggerheart games while I'm at Gen Con as well, so I can start generating more Daggerheart content. If you enjoyed this video, which was a very light overview of things going on, please go to my Patreon. That helps support the channel, creating more video content like this. I am heading to Gen Con and other events, flying down to LA for reasons, and also this helps me create player-focused content in the form of playtest materials that will evolve over time, and I want that content to be for Dungeons and Dragons and also for Daggerheart. So I'm having to do a little bit of a catch-up on learning Daggerheart right now, but I've already begun creating some really cool content in terms of playtest materials I would like to see in the D&D universe. So check out that Patreon. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you everyone for your support. Have a great day.